So there's some especially dumb, or I would call them awesome, prestige classes that I didn't actually mention. Most because I didn't think about them because they were...
there was a lot to talk about.
Well,
the
yeah.
easel was afoot.
But just this expands upon like the idea of like there's a prestige class for fucking anything, and it's just like, yeah, all the way we have these like entire like lists of prestige classes that are just for specific races, and then monsters as well. So it's like dragon prestige classes. There's like demons can take prestige. You know, they can become like a fiend of corruption or whatever the fuck. Like, so you're extra good at dealing Faustian bargains. You know, or yeah, that's a whole ass thing in the Book of Vile Darkness, and then like the fiendish codexes and all that shit. And then, but a couple of them stuck out, which because they're just so ridiculous
and specific.
Which some of the best ones are the dragon ones because it's a dragon, so of course any class levels they get is going to be insane, especially if it's a tailor-made class for a dragon.
And for those of you just joining us, he's referring to Dungeons and Dragons 3.5.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was our previous topic, was just old D&D, and oh man, calling 3.5 old.
Yeah, doesn't it wilt you?
Aren't you just an old man?
Yeah, we are old, so.
And in the before times, like so, monsters could take this prestige classes, and then some of them are just stupid, like Dragon Ascendant. So you have to be a true dragon, right? And
none of this fake bullshit lizards with wings.
And it has like a ridiculous, like you gotta have all these feats, and then your base attack bonus needs to be 30. And
that
then
sounds high.
Their special condition is
less high for that version of the game, but still pretty high.
Yeah,
it's like pretty middling for a dragon, I'd say.
Pretty achievable.
And then they have to consume their entire horde, and if they do that, the Dragon Ascendant class grants them a divine rank of 0, which in old D 3.5, D&D was that's what when you become like an actual deity, you get a rank, and it's 0 to 20, and 0 makes you a quasi deity. So like you're divine, but you're at the absolute bottom of the totem pole, but you're a dragon, so you don't give a fuck. And then it goes all the way up to 20, which is like greater deity.
21 Abrahamic god, like yeah.
And then you have like, I guess you could call it the reverse of that, but the disciple of a Chardalon, which was apparently a dragon that just decided this Ballard demon is sick as hell. My heart's not doing too good. I'm gonna take him and put him in where my heart was, and I guess that worked real good.
It's really metal.
And so this class, its ability...
Balors are actually almost entirely empty space and just Valve.
They continuously like bind like demonic or fiend, devils to them until their capstone ability is they just become an outsider. So it's like essentially like a devil dragon or a demon dragon.
Sounds sick as hell.
It's pretty rad. Not gonna lie.
Summon the devil! Summon the devil!
And then if you go even further back, because I mentioned the Book of Vile Darkness quite a bit, but that's a 3.0. They never did an updated version. I'm sure you could find like errata or stuff where they fixed it, or just updated it. But the baseline one had one of the most ridiculous classes of anything, which Soul Eater. Where
I love that manga. It was really good.
The anime was so-so, but the Soul Eater is 5 levels. That's it. But you get the most busted abilities because the whole thing is they just get energy drain.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
So every like natural attack, they like if a monster has like 4 natural attacks, each one of those is doing level drain.
Yeah.
And like that was like a thing. Like monsters in the old game would have like. If it hits you with both of its claw attacks, then that's functionally a third attack. It's like ripping a hole.
Oh yeah, that's rend.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the thing that there was stuff like that. Your monsters especially would roll up to you, even at like mid levels. Like I'm going to swing at you 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Just get access to combo moves like this is Street Fighter.
Yeah, no, that's normal stuff.
Which would be like okay, so for like talking about rend as a like a monster thing. So there's this monster called a Gorillon, which is basically a big white gorilla with 4 arms instead of 2.
He's the coolest.
And yeah, they got big old claws on them.
I'd like to
guess what they could do. Yeah, they can hit you with all 4 of them.
I bet, yeah.
And if they hit with 2, they get to rend.
Oh!
it's just like...
They're just doing King Kong moves from the...
3.5 was just really mean in a lot of ways, but...
White Gorilla makes me think more of Congo.
So I'm trying to think of the name. What's his name? He made the fucking Lord of the Rings movie. Peter Jackson. the Peter Jackson King Kong, where he just rips open all the monsters' jaws, and that's like his go-to. move.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah, fair point.
That was actually
That was from the original.
yeah,
film
it was
as
like
well,
a 1-to-1 recreation, just in super good CGI.
Yeah.
Like the original King Kong did that and bit out its tongue, and it's pretty brutal. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I just wanted to throw in a couple extra, like
gorilla.
little D&D things. I focused a lot on the prestige classes because
Those are the cool thing.
yeah, and
When you were a kid reading the manual, that's the thing that's like, wow, look at all the
Yeah.
stuff you can do.
like I would read monster manuals and try to memorize all the monsters and stuff, which is why when we encounter stuff in games, usually I'm just like, oh, I know what that is, and then I have to be careful to be like, because I try to play, if my character doesn't know, then I have to play as though I don't know.
Yeah.
But me, I usually know. So it's like I try not to abuse that I know all that. And then the flip side of the monster thing is like pouring over all the prestige classes. I used to do that too, just to be like, how many of these can I gobble together into some sort of monstrous build, like and just do something stupid. And yeah, that was one of my great pastimes in like when I was becoming a teenager and then into high school. Was just I would constantly just be reading the D&D manuals, like
Just focusing the mind. While you were off doing other things, I studied the blade.
which is
It is 1d6.
it complemented well with like because Rob knows a fair bit about 3.5. Like I know more about that than he does, but he knows more about 2e than I do, or Advanced Dungeons Dragons, because he's gone on about how he loved Baldur's Gate, like the original ones, and that's 2e, and it's really confusing.
That's like a hacked out version of 2e, but yeah, it is.
No, but still, like you know that shit in and out. Like you know exactly how to build your dudes in that, and like I wouldn't know where to fucking start. THAC0, I still barely understand THAC0. Like it's that confusing to me.
Speaking of systems we don't understand and strange lore that doesn't make much sense.
With that, welcome back to Scryer. I am your host, Famfare.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Tony. I'm Tony. Hi, my name is Tony. I am in fact not Tony. He's Tony.
We're not editing that out.
I am Mario. Fucking
That's staying in.
Of course it is.
that came out so.
Confident.
I'm gonna pretend and say, Will, that was for you. Okay.
I'm Rob. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Thank you for having us.
And if you enjoy the nature of this content, go and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. You can go and give me a follow on Blue Sky. And you can support us on our Patreon. And as Kevin said, speaking of esoteric and confusing lore, we're going to talk about the Warhammer Dwarfs today.
Hell yeah.
Or the Dowie, as they call themselves.
They call themselves
doing research.
Dowie?
The Dowie.
Dowie.
Yeah.
Dowie, okay.
Yeah.
Dowie sounds better than Dowie.
Yeah, Dowie. The Dawi.
Did you guys know that intro is gonna bother me
Forever,
all night?
Really?
Dude,
We're going to play it at your
we do the
funeral.
same one every time, and I say 3 words, and I'm Mario.
But not today.
And yeah, no. Today I was Tony for some reason. I did not consciously even. Yeah.
Put it in the book of
It
Grudges.
only registered after I said it. I'm
Mark
sorry.
this day in the book.
Yeah, it's gonna bother
We'll
me.
be talking about that.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
So the dwarves are known as the greatest miners and tunnelers in the world, as well as highly proficient engineers, smiths, and craftsmen. The dwarf empire is called the Karak Ankor. The heartland of the Karak Ankor is the World's Edge Mountains that serve as the barrier between the Old World and the Darklands, where there be Chaos Dwarves. We will talk about the Chaos Dwarves in a later episode.
I was wondering if we were going to get to that.
So I was just going to ask, are the Chaos Dwarves exactly what I'm imagining, which is just like they have a grayscale color scheme and like fangs?
Red, mostly red, fangs and horns. Not all of them have horns.
I was kidding about the fangs,
and
but
like more
okay.
smokestacks on the machines.
Closer to
yeah.
like, you know how orcs have tusks?
Yeah.
They have like tusks.
Ah.
Yeah,
Like
a lot
literally
of
in their body, or like as like an affectation.
Like they have like
growing
tusks
out of their
coming
jaw.
out of their
Oh,
jaw.
No,
that's so cool.
It's
Yeah.
a pretty common, like, when you start getting, like, chaos mutations, like...
You just get spikes.
Yeah, you get, like, fangs and
Various
shit.
forms of spikes and fangs.
Fangs, claws, horns, that sort of thing.
But yeah, I will dedicate a whole episode of this series just to the Chaos Dwarves.
Yes.
At its height, the Karak Ankor reached the mountains of Norska in the north to the jungles of the Southlands, from the Grey Mountains near Britannia and the mountains of Morn in the east. This probably means nothing to a lot of you listening and means nothing to everyone in this room, but it's pretty expansive.
You caught me. I'm literally looking up a map on my phone right now to be like, what? Like, so I can point with my finger.
To put it, because the Warhammer world is based off of the real world as far as like the geography goes.
Yeah.
So it would go from basically where Russia would be towards the center of it, like the western end of Russia.
Yeah.
It went all the way to Spain. And then all the way to the Gobi Desert, and then to Scandinavia, and then to the North Africa. Their empire spanned that much. They took that much territory.
A lot of it.
Not contiguously, because it's all in the mountains.
I was going to say, like, every time there's a mountain, you can point there and be like, there's dwarves there.
Yeah, they would always settle in mountains.
Okay, so well, also with, like, areas that aren't like explicitly, like mountainous or where you normally wouldn't be able to, have a habitable, place. Do they consider like tunnels underneath like regular living area, like a plains or something, as like their territory if someone else is settled on top?
We'll get into that a little bit.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I will go into how their typical modality of expansion goes. It's actually really cool. So, the dwarves venerate 3 ancestor gods whose edicts drive dwarf society. There is Grugni, the lord of miners and god of artisans, his brother Grimnir, the god of war and slayers, and their joint wife, Valea, the goddess of home and hearth. So, I'm going to...
Cuck gods over here?
Joint wife, huh? Yeah. So, Mario and I made, like, funny eye contact when you said that.
So, a lot of the lore says that it's their joint wife, but... predominantly, Grugni is the husband of Valea.
Well, because the other guy's out killing people.
Yeah, exactly. That's more or less the case, but they did have children together, which I will go into them a little bit. But right now I'm going to talk about the physiology of the dwarves. So they are short, sturdy, and strong. Most stand between 3 and 4 feet in height, but have stout builds with thick arms, broad shoulders, and short but powerful legs.
They're about as wide as they are tall.
Yeah, they really are.
Brick shithouse is the phrase that comes to mind.
Female dwarves have similar proportions but are much more curvy, and their bodies are well suited for the cramped tunnels they dwell in. It is customary, to the point of being essentially mandatory, for a male dwarf to have a beard of some kind. A dwarf's beard is like the rings of a tree, a sign of age and seniority. The longer the beard, the more respect he gains from his peers. Dwarfs often braid their beards and use jewelry clasps to decorate them, displaying wealth and status. Female dwarves braid their hair in a very similar way as a sign of status and age. A dwarf beard is so important to him that the loss of it is considered to be one of the greatest shames and worthy of donning the Slayer Oath. We will go into the Slayer Oath more intimately in later times. Dwarves love alcohol, and some of the finest brewers in the world. They have naturally strong livers, allowing them to drink all evening without much repercussions. Ale actually nourishes a dwarf, and they are able to survive off of it alone for weeks and not suffer malnourishment.
People can do that too.
Yeah, we've known guys like that.
If you're tough.
Yeah, if you're
it's not healthy for a human.
Going to the salty spittoon.
Yeah.
Eating nails for breakfast without any milk.
Without any milk.
Dwarves are naturally resistant to magic, unable to feel or control the winds of magic by normal means like the other races. They are all but immune to mutation from exposure to magic, and it takes great quantities of exposure to have any effect. Some believe that the Old Ones have made the dwarves to be the foil of the elves. Whereas elves have a natural affinity for magic, dwarves are made resistant to the touch of chaos. There are exceptions to this rule, as with the Dawizar, or Chaos Dwarves, employ a myriad of sorcerers. Like I said, I'm going to go into more detail in that later episode, but just a sneak peek. They will use sorcery, and it turns them into stone. So,
oh yeah, there was a character you told me about this. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah. They're
just slowly petrifying into place,
and like they actually the road to their capital is lined with like sorcerers who turned into stone and became living statues. It's pretty metal.
There's a
man, they're still conscious.
I don't know if they're still conscious, but like
presumably until stonification fully takes hold.
Yeah, but they just take their bodies in and basically,
I was just,
wait, I'm not done yet. As he's getting like moved around on like a hand cart.
I was just thinking that'd be pretty chaos, right? Like
it would be
just be petrified forever, but you're still aware.
So aware, yeah. That would be. It's pretty metal. That's pretty fucking metal. Okay, here's a fun fact that I only recently learned. I knew that there were more male dwarves than female dwarves.
Right.
I always knew that was the case, but there are only 1 or 2 dwarf females born for every 10 males.
Explaining the joint wife situation.
Yeah, explaining the joint wife situation. Because females are so rare, not every dwarf is expected to wed or sire offspring, with most dwarves choosing to focus on their craft or calling.
Disregard women. Acquire crafting skills and knowledge beyond the mortal man.
Omega based. They're all Sigma males.
I spent 80 years crafting this staircase out of solid granite. It is a veritable work of art compared to any other structure in all of the old world. I did it instead of having a wife.
Incredibly based. So,
my hero.
Dwarf marriage rituals are amongst the most guarded secrets of their whole culture. The father of the groom pays a bride price dowry to the bride's clan. The size of the dowry is calculated with a large device that roughly translates to the nuptial scale. A formula based on the wealth of the clan she is from and that of the clan she is marrying into is used, the logic seeing a plump, healthy bride being worth much more than one who is thin and malnourished. For this reason, dwarf women are considered attractive if they are round of hip, wide of girth, and heavy of bosom. Show short stacks, much to my approval.
Wait, sorry, hold on. Like, what? Where was that part written down? Like, I'm imagining.
Oh no way! Tony,
yeah. I'm thinking about that's got to be in like one of the books or something where they talk about the nuptial scale, laddie. Like that.
So this was from the book Grudge Lore, which basically goes about like dwarven culture and history, and specifically focuses on grudges. Which I was going to get to describe later. So a lot of the people who do videos like this just read off the wiki verbatim. Yeah. I went to the actual sources to try to get the information raw, and the wiki did not go into grudges basically at all, and I find that outrageous because
that's one of the funnest parts to talk about.
It's called Grudge Lore.
Yeah, the book, one of the core source materials of dwarf lore is called Grudge Lore, and like the wiki did not mention grudges at all. Anyway,
that's actually like a thing. I don't do a lot of fantasy, but I watch a lot of 40k stuff, and it's like dudes do the same thing where it's like
read off the wiki.
You obviously read off the wiki because most of the shit you said is probably correct, but this one little line here or whatever, it's just like, actually that never happened. Nothing ever states that definitively.
I know. There's a lot frustrating. And I'm really trying not to make that mistake.
So when you were saying that all, I was imagining in my head like an old school box with the old Games Workshop logo on it, and it's this big like gray patterned box. And it's the dowry weighing machine, and it says all that shit on the back, and that explains what it is.
I'm imagining like a massive stone like computer thing where like you have to move giant stone dials that grind against each other
for some reason,
and it's like does like a massive equation. But it's the same thing as like when you see this massive equation, and then you look. That's how many times the Pokeball needs to like wiggle. You know, you've seen that. It's that, but it's like, that's how we determine based off of the size of her breasts how much gold your father owes.
So I imagine that like it presents like a slot machine. Like it has a big chunky lever and
some dwarf brides are feasted every day for a month prior to the official weighing to increase the dowry paid.
That's what I call it too.
This practice also leads itself to the gartering of the girth, a ceremony used by some clans to calculate the suitability of the would-be suitor.
They use a garter like a giant fucking tape measure around her to be able to...
Guess what the garter is?
What?
In order to ask for the lady dwarf's hand in marriage, the suitor must be able to wrap his beard at least once around her waist, thus proving a certain degree of venerability, wisdom, and good behavior.
Of course.
This fella can't even braid his wife into his beard.
Yeah, what a cuck dwarf. Yeah. He's not allowed to marry my daughter. Get him out of here.
Your weakness is evident. Get out of here. And then the camera pans over to show his 900-pound daughter. The finest in all of dwarvendom.
Look at the size of his beard. He can't handle all that.
No, exactly. Beard.
We're saving your life right now, lad.
I'm going to go into a little bit about how dwarfs age. So, dwarves age more slowly than humans. A human is considered full grown at 16, whereas a dwarf are considered to be grown between 18 and 20. On the day of naming, or Knobsdag, a newborn's parents present the infant to the temples of Grugni and Valea to receive their blessings. The male relatives take the baby to the temple of Grugni and record the birth in the annals of the hold. Then the female relatives take the baby to the temple of Valea and pass them through the smoke of the hearth and feed them a spoonful of stone soup, which welcomes them as a new clan member. A dwarf is not considered an adult until 30 years of age. Their childhood is usually spent learning the clan's craft, traditions, and place in society. All young dwarfs of a clan and of both clans of clan and sexes are required to learn the fundamentals of mining and spend at least 2 years in the mines belonging to their hold.
I've been thinking this whole time, like, the vibes of that, like, the uncle's trip versus the aunt's trip of going to the temples must be crazy different.
Oh, dude, definitely. Completely, like night and day.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was thinking something like when you're in mining school, when you trip and all the ores fall out of your pockets.
Oh, jeez. They all make fun of your 5 o'clock shadow, and they're like, ha ha ha, the coal dust on your face is thicker than your beard, ah ha ha. And you're like, no, please. I'm just a boy of 24.
One of the most important events in a dwarf's life is their entry into adulthood. A young dwarf will be presented to the clan in a rite known as the Kemonog. Clans whose members live in scattered settlements usually wait till they get together in a Zogdag, or the Day of Remembrance, to observe the rite of adulthood. A young dwarf makes an offering to the clan's ancestors and to the ancestor gods, typically shown with an apprentice-level craft he created to demonstrate his skills in the clan's craft. The clan elders present the new adult with his first set of tools and the insignia of the clan's craft guild. They are now considered Newtrami, or a young clansman.
Ooh.
At this stage, a dwarf establishes a reputation within the clan. Most males become an apprentice to a senior clansman, beginning their second stage of tutoring in the craft, skills, and lore of the guild. Female dwarves turn their thoughts towards marriage, and their main duty is to help for stronger ties with other clans. With few exceptions, a maiden must marry outside of her clan, but within the proximity of the hold itself. Princesses of royal clans can marry into the families of allied holds, and generally have much more freedom of choice in marriage than their human counterparts. It is acceptable for a princess to marry beneath her social station, so long as the husband in question is an honorable clansdwarf of high character and wealthy enough to maintain a suitable lifestyle. When a dwarf reaches 70, they become an Altromi, or a full-beard. Once they reach this age, they are considered senior members of the clan and allowed to take on an apprenticeship. Clan elders resolve any disputes with 2 full-beards if they want the same apprentice, and a few full-beards choose to perfect the clan's craft rather than take on an apprentice. This is usually the time where most dwarves will settle down and marry to sire children of their own.
You're 70 years old now. It's time to think. Are you going to have a family or become the greatest there ever was at making this specific hat rack?
It's an important calling. Someone got to do it.
She's 110. She's an old maid.
She's an old... I mean, I was also thinking, like, you know, the male dwarves have to master a craft and the female dwarves start to think about marriage. You got to think about... They got to do a lot of math to determine, like, okay, I need to be maximally corpulent while still able to travel to another clan's, like, lands without, like, dying of heat
Have you
stroke.
considered the width of the door?
Have you considered the width of the door?
Without breaking the pony.
Yeah.
Once a dwarf reaches 120, the dwarf earns the privileged status of Longbeard, or Langthromi. Though not yet a clan elder, Longbeards are respected for their wisdom, skills, and knowledge of clan traditions and crafts. While some continue to accept apprentices, they generally are expected to pursue mastery of their craft as their sole focus. At 150, a dwarf becomes the Throngdkrin, or the elder of his clan. All elders join the Elder Council and help dictate any matters that directly impact the clan and its interest. In some clans, they just give advice and direction. In others, typically warrior clans, the council may do much more than that than offer recommendations. Once a dwarf becomes an elder, they keep that position for the rest of their lives.
You don't get younger. Yeah.
A dwarf will usually live around 200 years. A dwarf exceeding 200 years of age is granted the title of Gormtrome, which translates to Great Beard. They are held in the highest esteem among their fellow dwarves.
Silence, the Gormtrome speaks!
So it's funny, dwarves typically don't decline with age. In fact, longbeards are typically physically stronger than beardlings. It's not until a dwarf is right before death that they actually start to decline in health and strength.
Right.
So the older the dwarf is, the more their skin gets leathery and thick, and they become harder to kill.
Back in my day, the iron stock was tougher and purer.
The beard becomes so long that it is actually woven under the clothes, forming a sort of armor beneath.
Yeah. Those two dwarves that lived past 400 earned the legendary status of Faruktromthi, or living ancestor. They are among the greatest of the dwarven people, venerated as the blessed ancestor gods themselves and symbols of their clan's good fortune. The master rune lord of Karazakarak, Crag the Grim, is 1,620 years old of Imperial Calendar 2512.
Why can't I die?
He is too stubborn to die.
I'll never die, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Dance on all your graves.
That's closer
I
to
haven't
it.
properly prosecuted all my vengeance. I don't trust you to do it for me.
Exactly.
I'll mastercraft your coffins, you sons of bitches. I'll bury you.
And whereas humans grow weak and frail with old age, a dwarf keeps his strength right until before they are set to pass. It is thought that so long as a dwarf has a purpose in life, he will not die of natural causes. This is patently false.
Yeah.
I have read multiple cases of dwarves dying of old age. One in particular was Snorri Whitebeard, who was BFFs with Malkith. We talked about that in the Dark Elf episode. Malkith basically lost his drive for a while after Snorri died. He thought that was the end of the good old days, and that was right after his betrayal by what's his face? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Oh my god, who was the Phoenix King?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name.
He was such a...
Because we just had the bit where it's just really? You're doing this again?
Yeah, you're doing this again? You're doing it at me.
I'm starting to think that using the evil sword isn't a good idea.
Belshazzar.
Yeah.
Phoenix King Belshazzar basically kept cucking Malkith, and then Snorri died, and he was alright, well, I'm just being a reckless now.
Sometimes when you tell me lore from Warhammer that doesn't fit in necessarily with 40k as a solid future, I imagine what I call modern hammer, which is 2000s level technology, where they discover that dwarves just have a weird enzyme that they need, and they'll live forever otherwise. That's why he's 1,200 fucking years old. He eats carrots every day. Dwarves, you don't eat carrots, you'll die.
That'll do it.
Yeah,
it's that simple. And then
your body saps all the keratin out of your system for your beard, and you die.
I'm going to go a little bit more into the gods now. So Grugni is the most important of the ancestor gods and is the husband of Valea. He is the god of mining, smiths, and first taught the dwarves how to dig minerals from the rock and shape metal. He also taught the dwarves how to inscribe runes and gave them the means to defend themselves against their enemies. His primary credos are oath and honor, from which form the foundation of dwarven society. Grugni is typically depicted in full chainmail with a forked beard and a mining pick. In his martial aspect, he wields the Drongdrum, or Thunderhammer, which is a powerful rune hammer. His greatest shrine rests in Karak Azul, and known for its abundant iron reserves and its forges and armories. Valea is the goddess of healing and protection, and is the wife of Grugni. She is the only dwarf goddess, and her name is invoked to ward off evil sorcery. Her rune is also inscribed upon banners and armor to ward off harmful magic. She is rumored to be the founder of Karazakarak, the dwarven capital. She gifted the dwarven people with the rune of Hearth and Hold, echoing the cornerstones of her power within dwarven society. Valea is often depicted as a dwarf woman with long braided hair, wearing chainmail over purple robes, bearing the rune axe Kragskani, or Peacegiver.
She's the wife with the battle axe. She's literally his battle axe.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't pick that up. I didn't pick that up at first. It's hilarious. That's actually hilarious.
That's definitely an old English joke. They definitely did that on purpose.
Oh, they definitely did that on purpose. Then Grimnir is the warrior god of the dwarves and the brother of Grugni. A lot of lore states he is the second husband of Alea. While other ancestor gods are believed to be waiting in the afterlife, Grimnir is not present, having vanished when he ventured northward to close the Chaos Gates. Grimnir is the embodiment of courage, fearlessness, and the warrior spirit of the dwarves. He is the patron god of slayers, and a great shrine is dedicated to him in Karak Kadrin. He is depicted bare-chested and covered in muscle, covered in thick ritual scars, and donning a spike of orange hair jutting from his scalp. He bears the rune axe Asgdegdrum, or the War Axe of Doom, and one of 2 axes forged for him by Grugni. The other axe was given to his son Morgrim. There are a few lesser ancestor gods the dwarves worship. Gazul, the younger brother of Grugni and Grimnir, is the lord of the Underdark, the Under-Earth, and protector of the dwarven dead.
That's very funny to me. Like, these are 2 main guys, and their brother is a lesser guy, and he's like the god of the dead, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, basically, that's basically the consensus among dwarves. There are the 3 main ones, and the other ones, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
That is really a general consensus. You hardly, this all was pointed out in the Grudge lore book, but yeah, I could find very little about the other lesser gods.
Yeah. I know about, like, the Slayer god, and that was pretty much it.
And then there is Smednir, is the shaper of ore and the son of Grugni.
Rough name.
And he forged many rune weapons to use by the dwarves. Thugni is the ancestor god of runesmiths and the younger brother of Smednir. Morgrim is the ancestor god of engineers and the son of Grimnir, and he taught the dwarven people how to construct war engines. He accompanied Grimnir to the lands of the north, but was bid to return by his father and took one of his axes with him. So, the dwarven afterlife is kind of zany.
Uh-huh.
It's like kind of like the Norse afterlife, but a smidgen different. Dwarves do not worship gods as humans do. They prefer to put their faith and trust into things more solid than distant, uncaring deities.
Yeah.
For a dwarf, life is but the first part of their existence. The dwarfs believe that upon death, their souls are pulled down to the earth, to the roots of the mountains, where they will reside in the halls of the ancestor gods. All dwarf souls end up in the halls of the ancestors, but where they dwell within those halls depends on how a dwarf lived his life. The greatest dwarves, kings, mighty warriors, rune lords, and vaunted smiths, sit closest to the head of the great feasting table near the ancestor gods. Lesser dwarves sit further down the table, or at one of the side tables reserved for their clan, hold, or guild. Those dwarves who do not atone in life for their shame or misdeeds must act as servants in the halls of the ancestors, bringing beer and food to those at the table. Only when their debt is cancelled are they allowed to take their own seat.
You have to sit at the kiddie table in Dwarf Valhalla. That sucks.
Isn't that sad?
That's hilarious.
It's Valhalla. It could be an infinitely long table.
Yeah, it doesn't have to have side tables. It can be as long as you want.
And yet, you might be, if your guild or clan isn't that cool, you might be at the side table just watching everybody else have a great feast, or you're just like, you get to cross your arms and be like,
Waiter? Waiter? Yeah, walk. I need a refill. He'll be back.
Outside of the feasting hall is a great chamber where the souls of the slayers end up. Here, the greatest slayers tell tales of their fighting and the wars fought as an endless tide of goblins stream in to be hacked down.
That's great. A part of their heaven is like, and also, it's goblin hell.
Should a fighter fall, he will reappear at the feasting hall where he can have a quick drink and snack before rejoining the endless fighting.
Hold on. So actually, it is Valhalla, but also they have more of like an inside portion where you can like go to essentially Dwarf Golden Corral.
Yeah.
If you're into,
Which is still just called Golden Corral.
It's still
called Golden Corral. Yeah.
It's only Valhalla if you're a slayer. Otherwise, it's just Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm imagining a map of it that's designed like, you know, the King's Dominion map that they give you on like the little brochure.
Yeah.
It's like that, but with like, and this is where the goblin hordes are, and this is the King's Hearths, and this is the water park area.
Like a woman with a horned helmet on a horse gives it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Dwarves tend to their dead with great care, as they believe that any damage to a corpse will be mirrored by the soul in the afterlife. For some, their war wounds and battle scars are a source of great pride, but others' disfigurement into the afterlife drive them into the dark dungeons beneath the feasting hall. Here they wander for eternity, forever seeking to be whole again.
One of them's just like, they said a
man.
goblin ate all of me as part of a restaurant challenge.
That's like
The Skaven Diner Challenge.
Germans used to do that like 100 years ago. Like that's why you see pictures of like World War I or like Nazi guys. They always have some like their faces all fucked up or something. That's because they used to like
Part of graduation, you have to sword fight with no
safety and then
gear.
like that was like if you get really messed up in your face, that's cool. You're cool.
It was like a weird fencing tradition that they had, where it's like you purposefully got slashed on the face.
Yeah.
And then, like they would
makes you cool.
They would widen it like as it was healing to make it even worse of a scar.
Yeah.
And that's why every single like
Nazi
supervillain character has face scars because that was a real thing.
They had that.
That's pretty metal.
There's a word for it. I can't remember though.
It's probably in German.
Yeah.
In death, a dwarf must stand in judgment of the ancestor gods. First, a dwarf is judged by his wealth. Secondly, by his deeds in battle. Thirdly, he is judged by his deeds in peace and his achievements in life. Which is really funny. Like,
It says here that you didn't kill any goblins. No, I was a dwarf doctor. And they're like, I guess that's okay.
his grudges are weighed against his honorable conduct, and he is given a suitable seat at the table. A dwarf awaits this before the great gate of Gazul's chamber at the entrance of the halls. Some dwarves remain waiting in this room forever if their bodies are not properly buried. If it is impossible to recover a dwarf's remains or bury them properly at time of death, a secret ceremony is performed to imbue a personal token of the deceased with his soul. This object effectively becomes his body, so he can be buried by proxy at a more convenient time.
I think they did that to defeat a bunch of monsters in Supernatural.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
they had to go like put a thing at that. That's a thing. They had to put a thing at their grave.
Yeah.
I was gonna say was chief hater. That's my job. Like when you come into Valhalla or not, like there's someone who's like looking at your grudges and it's like.
This guy ain't got it.
Sounds like you still got a lot of beef out there.
Yeah.
Maybe something will open up later and you can come in.
The most
That'd be my heaven.
The most dickish version of St. Peter at the pearly gates.
You know what? That's definitely like a venerated position in like the dwarven, like the celestial hierarchy, where it's like, oh, if you're a really good king, you get to sit at the head of the feast, and if you're really pedantic about grudges, you get to be the doorman.
I was gonna
and
say-
they're all like, yeah, doorman.
Being a hater is like part of their culture. Imagine how much of a hater you are after 1,600 years. You're probably so good at it.
Dude,
They have access to hater technology we'll never even consider.
Not even close. It's the arms race of being a hater. They're centuries ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
literally.
gonna say it.
No, he's using slurs from before written words.
Slurs. He in 1,600 years old. He invented those. He made those up.
Yeah, the one that came up with knife ears has a venerated position at the table.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's at the capstone. Yeah,
He's sitting next to like the highest of kings.
yeah. He's on equal footing.
Yeah.
So,
They share a death wife.
dwarven society is predicated on guilds. Most dwarves in a hold are expert craftsmen in some field that belong to a guild associated with their profession. The crafts guilds are the most respected and enjoy the highest pecking order in dwarf society. Some of the most esteemed guilds are the goldsmiths, the brewmasters, the weaponsmiths, the runesmiths, the jewelsmiths, the stonemasons, the miners, and the engineering guild, with the engineering guild being one of the most powerful. Perhaps second only to the engineering guild is the mining guild in prestige and influence. At any one time, perhaps half the adults of a clan may be employed as miners. Some clans consist almost entirely of mining families. There are many subsets of miners. Dwarf mining is a very complex, and the members of a mining team have specific roles. The proper preparation and maintenance of mine shafts, surveying and analyzing rocks and ore, and the use of black powder explosives are all areas of expertise. Within each of these areas, a dwarf will specialize in a particular type of ore or rock, like coal, iron, or gems. As a beardling, a dwarf miner will learn his trade by helping move ore from the rocks to the smelteries, learning how to identify different types of rock. He will then progress to shoring up the mine shafts, then working on the face itself. Over many decades, a dwarf will move from one type of ore to the next as his knowledge broadens, learning to use smell, touch, and hearing to identify rocks and how to use mining machinery.
Taste.
This is good. This is a rich vein. And he, like, licks it. Death stone. And then he just falls over dead.
Mines make up the outermost regions of any hold. Rather than being abandoned like other races do, dwarf mines are converted into corridors, chambers, and halls by stonemasons. The most glorious throne rooms and vaults once started out as simple mines. As the miners follow the seams of ore, the hold expands. So to expand on your question earlier, Mario, like, a dwarf settlement will grow because they're always mining on the outskirts of their hold, and then once that mine dries up, they turn into buildings.
Oh, okay.
I'm imagining that all of the...
It's like the opposite of what the Romans did.
Kind of, yeah.
Instead of just filling in the buildings with dirt and shit, it's just like, no, all the dirt is gone now. Now we can build.
Now we can live here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is not the
pretty
best
cool.
address. This is where all the lead used to be. People aren't too smart through here.
Ooh, you got Mercury Town. That's bad.
Yeah.
I'm imagining also that all of the buildings and everything still have, like, the tracks for the mine carts. And I would keep my king throne, my dwarf king throne...
On wheels?
On wheels, yeah. I would just, like, pull the lever forward, and that would, like, undo the thing, and you'd hear me... And I'd be like, take me to the dinner hall! Like
a big round stone hut that's actually just a whole turntable that turns.
Yeah!
And you wheel inside your house like, I'm just to see my subjects.
So, beer is an important part of dwarf culture. It is regarded more as an art form than just the process of fermenting grain to make alcohol. Brewing is considered one of the loftiest crafts in dwarven society, and dwarven brewmasters are on equal footing with jewelsmiths, metalworkers, and stonemasons. Dwarven ale is much stronger than that produced in the human empire, as dwarf constitutions are much more robust. So potent is some dwarf beer that it alone can sustain a dwarf over long periods without need of food or water, but would likely blind or kill a human.
That's why you don't live to be 1,000 years old. You're drinking too much of the strong stuff. You need water. You're dying. No, we prefer ale. It can keep a dwarf going for weeks. What happens at the end of those weeks? Obviously, you die.
My mother told me that ale or that water could kill you.
What are you, crazy? Yeah. Everyone who drinks that shit dies.
Some brews are used to power great machines via alcohol combustion.
Yes.
It can't be beer at that point. Like, actually, you can get... There are some insanely high ABV beers, but they're all awful. But, sorry, anyway.
Yeah, there's one of the comics for the Warhammer Online game. They did like a promo comic, the collector's edition, and there's a dwarf flying in a gyrocopter, and to give his gyrocopter like a boost, he like gets his tankard and just throws it into the engine, and it gets like starts going double time.
That happened in Mad Max, I think.
It did. Yeah.
That's
like
just spit it right into the engine to give you a hyper boost.
Well, that's like the fucking like the brewmaster shows you, like, look at my newest brew, and then it like pours you a glass, you take it, and you're like, oh, that's just Everclear. He's just like, what? It's to power the machine.
Don't be foolish. Everclear would dissolve in this environment.
Some dwarves develop brew fever, which renders them insensible and single-minded in the pursuit of fine ale. It's not the same as alcoholism. It's like a different. It's like the gold lust that dwarves get in Tolkienian fantasy, but it's just brew fever. They need it. They need the most dankest beers.
All right, assuming that that's not an obvious lie. Every dwarf alcoholic being confronted obviously says, "No, you don't understand. I have brew fever. I'm not an alcoholic."
Sir, do you have any idea how loudly you were mining?
I came home and the minecart was just full of worthless granite. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no control.
One of the most famous brewmasters is Joseph Bugman. His troll brew, Bugman's Sextuple X, and Bugman's Special Brew are some of the most notable brews he's made. After his brewery was raided by goblins and destroyed, Bugman became a recluse and was seldom seen again.
Damn. Pour one out.
Pour one out for the homies. It was a fun mechanic. His brew could heal, like
Healing potions?
in a setting that doesn't really have there's life magic, like a wizard can do that sometimes. His brew was so tasty and wholesome that it just filled you full of good warmness, and you would heal.
If life magic screws up, do you turn into a Hulk monster made of tumors and start killing, or do you explode into trees? Or
I think the tumors. I think that
Okay.
I can't give an actual source on this, but I recall reading that if you miscast life magic, your tumors will happen.
The one instance of life magic failing that I can recall, it just he seemed to close up the wounds, and then he was like, "I've done it," and then the guy was like, "I'm okay," and then he just fell to pieces because the wounds didn't actually heal at all.
Got it.
It was just closing the top.
And now we will talk about grudges.
Yes.
A grudge, at face value, is a simple thing. A record of a misdeed done to a dwarf or their race so that it might not be forgotten. It is a similar concept to revenge, but it's something much more. Grudges are an integral part of dwarf society.
It's about being mad forever, not about getting justice.
In fact, most laws are derived from the recording and persecution of grudges, and most of dwarf society is moved forward in the pursuit of grudges. They are an account of a dwarf's honor as the ledgers of oath and fealty. Grudges are contracts in history. The diligence which a dwarf trader totals his invoices is as nothing compared to the detail and gravitas placed upon scribing a grudge. Before scribing one, the grudges of ancient times were consulted, old records brought forward to see what wisdom the ancestors can teach the kings of today.
What can I be pissed off about?
in the grudge-based legal system, matters of honor are
considered especially heinous.
I'm trying to think of like a comparison, and like what came to mind for me was that like if you can imagine a dwarf son coming to his father and being like he had a grudge set, like, you know, and then it was like, I don't know if I really want to go through with it, and then the dad would just be like, "You get out of my house! Like you
don't come back.
You're not my son anymore." Yeah,
I just don't think it's worth having it in the big book of grudges for all time. Then it sounds like you don't live here anymore, boy.
yeah. It's like as a
You put your
dwarf.
pickaxe in his eye.
Yeah, if you have a grudge, the grudge must be settled. Like,
Jeez.
The weight of a debt is measured through precedent and judgment, so that all deeds of all dwarves, as well as their allies and enemies, can properly be reckoned. All dwarves record their grudges, but it is the greatest of grudges that drive dwarf society. Each king maintains a book of grudges recorded in blood, typically several volumes. Some grudges are of a personal nature, whereas others relate to the dwarf's clan and hold. The largest of these tomes is the Damas Kron, held by the High King of the Dwarves. It holds all the grudges of dwarf kind. Twice every century, the Day of Grudgement is held, where all dwarf kings
I've got a lot of problems with you all, and you're going to hear about it. Festivus.
all dwarf kings travel to Karazakarak and relate their new grudges together with grudges that have been settled so that the Damas Kron can be kept accurate. In modern times, the Day of Grudgement now lasts several weeks.
The Grudgement Festival.
Grudge
Fest.
that reminds me of there's like I think it's some place in South America where there's like a village where they like do this. Like one day of the year they have like a
The airing of grievances.
a festival where it's like, yeah, they have like a ring, and if you want to settle something with someone, you get in the ring and you beat the shit out of each other, and then once the fight is over, it's done. You're settled.
The feud is over.
Yeah, the grudge has been settled.
I also love that it's like every 50 years, so that means like when your time comes to like, okay, we need to like, how's grudges going in your clan? You have to pull out like papers from 50 years ago and read off like, well, I got cut off in traffic, and
That really riled me.
that
up.
riled me bad. They died 40 years ago, so I guess that
They're children.
but their children are still around and can be extracted.
Grudges can take many literary forms. Some are very formal, others are simple histories, and others are elaborate tales. Some of the greatest and most popular sagas were first recorded as grudges. The preference of a king, the importance of the grudge, and the historic styles all influence different wording over the years.
They would have loved Larry David. Truly one of the greatest sagas of grudges.
So that's like, what if the Epic of Gilgamesh started out as like an angry shit post, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Once written, a grudge can neither be erased nor struck until it has been settled. This might occur through the death of the perpetrator, material recompense, apology, or other such punishments. Over centuries, the grudges recorded by the king's predecessors and peers formed the basis of Dwarven law. In doing so, the debts of a grudge in distant times and places forms the basis of judgment for the reckoning of grudges. Grudge masters research long and hard for guidance to give their king, providing him with recommendations of suitable recompense taken from other grudges. They serve much like human lawyers in matters of grudges against other dwarfs, presenting other previous grudges that are similar in nature with the aim of garnering leniency.
Have you ever seen video of British Parliament where they're just like,
Someone yelling at you.
Well, people, one of them will start talking, then the other one will be like, hurrah, 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 like,
the hiss! I heard them hiss! Like,
it doesn't seem real.
They throw eels and shit. Just and they're like, so genuinely, dwarven like government was decided by things like, well, you see, when Vormer's brother was punched in the face, the grudge that was extracted was he got to punch the other guy in the face, or eat 10 like sandwiches made by his wife. So that's the law now.
They're very bad sandwiches.
You punch a man in the face, either you get to punch him or you get 10 sandwiches from his wife.
That's unironically Roman also. The Romans like made up his justification later, or maybe it's like maybe it worked backwards the other way, I don't know. But Romulus was actually right to kill Remus because he crossed his battle line, and that's not cool. You have to ask to do that.
That sounds a lot like what Romulus would say.
Yeah. You have to. That's why that's the Primarium. You have to cross the Primarium. You lose you're not a general anymore. You have to ask.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like working backwards there. The dwarves would love it.
Yeah, exactly.
While a grudge still stands, it is the burden to be carried out by the king, and it will be weighed against him when it is time for him to pass to the halls of the ancestors. Even those that have been settled are still held in permanent record should the need arise to refer to them. Grudges can be recorded against a person even after their death, with the descendants of the recorded transgressor liable to make amends. So a dwarf so grudged...
Like Pennsylvania.
Yes. A dwarf so grudged carries his grudges into the halls of the ancestors until a suitable reparation is made, weighing him down so that he may not be able to sit at the Grugny's table. I want to talk quickly about I think it might be the first Warhammer novel I read, besides Godric and Felix, was Grudgebearer. So, Grudgebearer is about Barundin Stoneheart, who was a prince of Jufbar, which is one of the dwarf holds. Mm-hmm. And basically, some humans came up to him and were like, oh my god, these orcs, they're attacking, we need help, will you help us, noble dwarves? And the dwarves was like, you got any money? Well, they offered them like a whole bunch of money, and they didn't think the dwarves would take all of it, but they took literally all of it. They're like, yeah, we'll take this is a good little price.
An excellent payment.
Yeah, and so the dwarves come down from their mountain to help, and they corral the orcs, and the humans had their, like, I want to say western flank covered, and the second the orcs made contact, they booked it out of there. They just fit the sound of the retreat, leaving their flank exposed, and some goblin wolf riders showed up and killed the king of Jufbar. And so his son, Prince Barundin, even though they won the battle, was like, okay, so we're going to murder all those humans, right? But it was customary that the dwarf prince had to strike his father's last grudge. And his father's last grudge was drunkenly proclaiming, I'm going to go retake that fallen hold that fell centuries ago. And so a huge part of the book is just Barundin fighting a protracted war to retake a hold that's basically impossible to retake, so that he can eventually go and like strike the actual grudge he wants to strike. And so the book ends up being a series of short stories in the interim of him just like trying to get this like Herculean thing happen. And it's been a long time since I read the book, so I'm probably going to get some inaccuracies, but I want to say, like, at least 100 years passes, if not 200. He finally takes the hold. He has a Thane instilled as, like, the king of that hold that has, like...
While he goes to take care of business.
And it's the great-great-great-grandchild. And he gives him his demands and is like, you have to give us a shit ton of money and your whole family has to go into exile and then the grudge will be settled.
I'd give him a shitload of arrows.
And the king's like, dude, I don't even fucking know you. What are you talking about? Like, that was my great-great-granddaddy. Yeah, I don't, like, what are you fucking talking about? I'm not doing that. And so it's a grudgeon. And the dwarves march down from their hold to go slaughter everyone in that fucking castle. It's so brutal. Like, they get there and they're like under siege by other humans who there's like a border dispute. Like, oh, this is actually to right of succession. This is actually my territory. Like, and this like young noble is like basically explaining, yeah, this is technically like I have rights to this land, so my uncle is sieging it for me so that I can take this land. And the dwarf king is like, that's nice. Don't care, cannons, and they blow the wall up, and they just march in there, and they gun down all the people charging at them, and they go to the keep where all the women and children are, and it's a grudgeon. Like, there is no mercy when a grudge killing. This is grudge killing. So they like proceed to get their axes, and are about to hack all of the women and children to fucking pieces. And then the young noble shows up and is like, hey, these are my people now. They're not his people. He's dead. So you can't kill them because they're my people. Yeah. And Barundan's like, you going to tell me what to do, boy? What the fucking wonder day? He's like, what about your uncle? What'd your uncle say? And then he's like, well, I killed my uncle because he was going to go and attack you guys. And the dwarf king was like, oh, that took balls. I like balls. You're okay, young man. I will leave your people alone. And they form a lasting friendship. It was kind of wholesome.
This is the trickery that I would do. This is how I would do it. I'm the bad guy here. I'm the guy who's fully just like, no, I'm not repaying my great-grandfather's debt to you or anything. I would then say, by the way, don't know if you know this, I'm a bastard and I was not fathered by that bloodline at all, but my uncle, he is. Like, direct descendant. Help me kill him. And then when the dwarves go to kill those guys, guess what? We're fleeing again. Mark
this day in the book!
Eat shit, dwarves! Tell your daddy I said fuck you!
So the most contentious people who ever lived are the dwarves.
While they're settling a grudge, like, even with, like, grudge masters, like, can a new grudge be formed?
Yes.
Like, while that's happening.
I imagine that it's
like, you just get so mad at each
other. It can get compounded, yeah.
Okay.
It can compound. Absolutely.
I figured.
Why do you think dwarves haven't taken over this planet despite discovering guns 1,000 years before everyone else? They're killing each other over bullshit.
Like the inverse of orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically dwarf on dwarf conflict is super rare because they're like a dying species, so they kind of squelch that stuff. But they will still seethe and fume and be petty. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. There was, I think in Gotrek and Felix, like, Gotrek had beef with this dwarven prince because this dwarf maiden gave one of them a book of poetry, but they had made a pact to split all of their booty 50-50. Mm-hmm. But he's like, this wasn't booty, this was a gift from a maiden. He's like, no, that counts. You kept it from me, therefore we have a grudge. I have a grudge against you. And so they hated each other. And then they, like, basically, like, go to, like, the thing where the king or whatever was supposed to be, like, settling grudges. And they bring up that event. And I think Felix just rips the book in half and then gives each of them half of the book. And there's a moment where he's like, oh, I think they're going to kill me.
Yep, this was it. I thought I was being smart.
And then they both just start laughing about it. And they're like, ha! The grudge is settled! How have you been, friend? Like, and they just start treating each other like the best friends again. Because
that's the best part, too, is as soon as it's done, it's like, let's go get a drink.
The grudge is settled.
The grudge has been settled.
You're not allowed to still be mad about it. We settled it.
Yeah, it's so dumb, and I love it so much.
I think the dwarves might just be autistic. We need clear set rules of cause and effect for why I'm allowed to be mad at you or when I'm not supposed to be mad at you.
And then we're going to talk a bit about the runes. Dwarves do not have magic do not have magic users like wizards, mages, or sorcerers.
Right.
Their magic lore was taught to them by the ancestor god Grugni. He showed them how to trap power of magic into items they crafted using runes and rituals. This skill was taught to a chosen few who became the first runesmiths. Once in his life, each runesmith will choose an apprentice to learn the secrets of runes, passing down the rune lore from one generation to the next. Like other apprentices, a runesmith's students will learn the fundamentals of rune magic over the course of many years. Those who are diligent and dedicated may become runesmiths themselves, and in time go on to create new runes of their own. A runesmith's power and understanding expands throughout his life, the oldest known as rune lords. The rune lords know the secrets of the most potent runes, known as the master runes, and can bind the most powerful magic to their will. So there are some really cool, runes. So in the tabletop, your heroes and characters could be given, X amount of points of magic items.
Yeah.
We went over this a little bit during the Skaven series. Typically, heroes had 50 points, and lords had 100 points. Dwarves typically couldn't take magic weapons the same way as other...
they would need to take a rune weapon or something.
Yeah, they had a rune system. So you would have typically a higher point threshold. Heroes typically had 75 points. Lords had 125 points, and a rune lord had 150 points. And you had a whole bunch of rules about how runes could be inscribed on items. And so an item could have 3 runes. You couldn't have the same combination of runes twice, because it was like the law of jealousy, basically. 2 rune lords are going to make the same item.
Yeah. That counts as copying. That goes in the Book of Grudges.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Grudgement. And a few of the runes were super cool. You could only have 1 master rune on any one item. You couldn't have 2 master runes on an item. Certain special characters, part of their thing is that they had 2 master runes on an item because they're a big deal.
But that's because they were so special.
Yeah, they were special boys. But one of the runes made your weapon weightless. Yeah, so not massless, weightless.
Yeah.
So you got the strike first effect. And one of the runes would completely ignore armor. You just would not get an armor save. One of the
Vorpal runes.
Yeah, basically. One of the runes was Vorpal, gave you Killing Blow.
Oh,
so it would just seek out your neck.
The other one would be lightsabering runes.
And then another rune was the opposite, which was made because a dwarf prince got his head cut off by an elf, so it made you immune to Killing Blow.
Neck safety, we call it.
And then there was a rune of burning, or it would turn your axe on fire.
Classic.
There's the master rune of flight, where you got the Mjolnir, you could throw it and it would come back to your hand. I always loved giving that one to my rune lord, so he could sit on his anvil of doom and throw his hammer at people. It was sick.
Yeah.
Gosh, what else? There a bunch of nifty runes like that. And we're going to talk about, lastly, I'm going to cover the Dwarven Kings. Just the kingship in general.
Mm-hmm.
In a dwarf hold, territory is proportionate to status, and in his domain, a dwarf king has the most. Clan halls, forges, and mines are all effectively leased by the king to other dwarves, generating income for the royal clan. Levies are also placed on all of the craft guilds, as well as a portion of all gold and precious metals excavated from the mines. Even dowries are subject to royal duties, and a king's blessing upon any union is subject to the amount of gold afforded. Even beards are taxed. With the longer the beard, the lower the tax. Long beards are often exempt from the tax altogether.
Oh, of course. That's the scam.
Yeah.
That's the scam.
A particularly greedy king, known as King Thagar Goldholder of Karak Norn in the Grey Mountains, instigated a beer tax. It was quickly ratified when an unprecedented all-stop came about, as almost the entire hold, from the miners, brewers, masons, smiths, engineers, and even goat herders, all laid down their tools and gathered in the great hall on strike. There they stood in silence, unmoving until the utter quiet became maddening to the king.
You guys mad at me? Are you mad? You seem mad. Are you mad? It's just another tax, guys. You seem mad.
And with that, we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy the nature of this content, go and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. You can go and give me a follow on Blue Sky. You can support us on our Patreon. And I'd like to give a special thanks to our Patreon subscribers, our aspiring Magus Champion 1209, and our fellow Scryers, Maticate, GaryGoblino, MidniteGrimoire, The Greater Good Boy, Kinomajaro, Wanrical Barcis, Janklord Emperor, Grimothy, Bread the Gnarbarian, and of course, my mom.
Thank you guys. Love ya.
Bye.
Goodbye.